Mayor of Rome is Jackie Izzo, and she's on the line right now. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
You're not going to retire, are you?
No, not anytime soon.
Okay. Losing all my business here. This is terrible. Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
I'm just fine. How about you?
Wonderful. So, first of all, I want to talk about, we had the district attorney on last hour on the story of, and I've not really followed, I know the story. I don't even know the name of the facility or any of this stuff because I haven't paid much attention. I get stuck on maggots and I'm gone. But interesting that the DA has come out and said that they investigated, did a full investigation and find that charges of mistreatment or anything criminal or anything of even abuse or anything like that is completely unfounded on this case of the maggots and the group facility. I don't know if you want to comment on that. We tend to jump to conclusions.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a very unfortunate situation. I've learned in the course of my career there's always three sides to one story.
Right.
So I kind of like to wait for more information to come out, but that it's unacceptable, obviously. No one should have maggots in their trach tube.
Right.
But we don't know the circumstances under which that happened or occurred, so it's really not our place to comment too much. I don't know if they're going to. I see that Assemblyman Brindisi and Senator Griffo are thinking about reopening an investigation of the state facilities. I'm really not sure what occurred there.
I would think that having maybe a federal, the feds looking and keeping track of the state, probably not a bad idea. When it's the state keeping track of the state, you always kind of wonder, is somebody covering something up? And that's what a lot of people are thinking about here. So,
when someone has a tracheostomy and they're on a ventilator, I mean, it's a very, very high level of care. Maybe we should be looking at that.
Right.
Are we actually housing these patients in the best facilities
right
to
place.
Deal with that level of care?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that might be the better question to ask ourselves and the state. And if not, then we do need maybe more of a hospital facility. I know that the state abandoned the Walsh facility in Rome, which was more of an acute care level hospital facility for the DDSO patients, and moved them back to these housing facilities. Maybe that's just not the best course of action for them.
How about just we should also mention the father. And it's a tragic situation. The kid was injured, seriously injured in a car accident when he was younger. And this is dad just being a dad, right? I mean, I don't think you can fault a father for wanting the best care for his son, no matter how old his son. The kid's in his 30s or 40, right? So I don't think you can fault the father either, trying to get the best care that he can for his son. All right, I want to get your take on it's heated here in Utica. If you look at the front page of the Observer-Dispatch, political face-off between Pisani and Palmieri. Pisani saying Palmieri has been an obstructionist on everything that the county executive is trying to do. The mayor saying, I don't think it's a good idea for the county leader to stoop to throwing, to name-calling. And, of course, on the editorial page in the Observer-Dispatch today, Downtown Hospital needs a transfusion. The transparency that should define discussion about a proposed downtown hospital has become even more painfully murky. Now it's time for what they say, a transfusion. What's your take on all of what's going on, and that includes the hospital project?
Well, I think everyone certainly wants to move their municipality along. I know that the two cities, obviously being the two population centers in the county, we're always looking for how do we improve. And the Mohawk Valley Health System has now become a really much larger system for healthcare, and they're trying to do what's best, what they think from a facility standpoint, to service patients going into the next decades. So I think all of that is very complicated. And then in the middle of it, you've got the county that wants to move along the Odd facility, and that's been a really great success story.
Yeah.
I think that's really not talked about enough. The improvements that are being made now there will obviously enhance that whole area. The proposed U district, I don't know. I would assume that they've had conversations behind closed doors to get to that point. For us here in Rome, I know that we are very focused on moving our hospital into a better care point coming into the next several years. We're positioning the hospital to provide a level of health care that we think is important for the population that we serve. So these are all very difficult decisions, and I think sometimes people have different visions of what they want to see in an area, and sometimes the political leaders don't line up on their thinking.
I want to ask you on Rome Memorial, what is it like for Romans? There's so much political exhaustion with everything that's going on over this downtown Utica Hospital. If you're from Rome, do you feel left out?
Actually, we're staying very focused on what we need to do to position Rome Hospital for the future. For instance, our new administration, we've just brought urology service back to Rome, and the difference this time it'll be full urology service. They'll be able to do cystoscopies here. We'll be able to do lithotripsy or stone removals. So you won't have to be transferred out to Utica or Syracuse anymore for those services. That's important.
Yeah.
They're looking at some other service lines that we don't have here in Rome that we should be able to offer so that you wouldn't have to be transferred out to Utica or Syracuse. So our emergency room is extremely busy. They've done a good job there. They put a fast-track service in there, which is getting people in and out quicker now. So I think that you'll see they'll be making some moves in the future which will help us to service our patient load from the west, from the north, and, of course, from the city of Rome. And it's very important for us to be focused on the fact that we need to maintain a hospital with an intensive care unit and an emergency room. That's very, very important for our population. We've improved cardiology services in Rome Hospital, and of course the affiliation with St. Joe's and Syracuse will be most helpful as we move forward.
All right, Andrew.
I just want to go back to the Pacini Mayor Palmieri issue, referring again to the OD article. One of the quotes from Pacini, this is, excuse me, this is the third mayor that I've dealt with. I didn't deal with this before. When we wanted to help, no other mayor stood up and said, oh no, go to New Hartford, go to Rome, go to Marcy, etc. Has there ever been a time where you've been, the county executive has approached you with an idea to help out and you've said, no, that's okay, we're good?
No, not really. We haven't looked at a project this large in Rome. I think we've looked at some other things, but we haven't really had that situation here, and I really haven't been involved too much in these discussions about what may take place in Utica.
All right, you recently did a walk. Your walks of Rome have been you've gained a lot out of those. Oh
yes, last night we had another walk. Those are great because it brings you right. You're on the ground with the citizens. For instance, last night we were in a resident's backyard, which abuts our city property near the Kennedy Arena, and she's got quite a problem with some trees back there that are impinging on her yard. The problem we have is Wood Creek backs right up to the fence, so we can't get heavy equipment in there because we would be in the creek. So we're going to have to look at another solution to try to help her, but we really wouldn't have seen that unless we were right there with her. So things like that happen on the walks, and so people are very satisfied. One of the things that we're noticing now is where we have walked, like last year, as we walk back into those areas this year, we're seeing a noticeable improvement in property maintenance. And that's really was one of our goals. One of our goals is to clean up the city from an aesthetic point of view, to make us look more welcoming and ready to do business. And our neighborhoods are embracing that. And we run into a lot of, and sometimes people just want to talk about some issues that might be happening in the city.
Yeah.
And so it's been extremely positive. We walked the trails 2 weeks ago, and one of the things we realized on the trail was we need to do some maintenance here.
Right.
Now we've got these beautiful trails, but that brings responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to be sealing all of the surfacing of the trails very soon here so that we maintain its integrity. And, we're doing some preventative maintenance as we go forward.
Kathy on the line right now has a final question here. Kathy, you're on the radio with Mayor Jackie Izzo.
Yes, good morning, Mayor. I have a question.
Good morning.
Some of the houses that are near the roads that are being taken down, they have some nice bushes that have been planted a few years ago. Are you going to give the bushes away, or is the city going to try to save the bushes?
To be honest with you, we tried to empty the houses of everything inside that was salvageable. We really hadn't thought about the bushes. I would expect that those are near the new houses that were built or that were refinished.
Yes.
We'll take a look at that because those houses are going to go last. So we'll take a look at that over there and see if we might be able to salvage some of those. We'll send our arborist over to see what he thinks.
Some of them bushes are very good.
I got to tell you, if you need help on that, Jackie, I was riding a skid steer 2 weeks ago, and I was pulling bushes out left and right. So goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be your guy. I replanted them and everything, and it's all going well. So you let me know.
Well, that's good because your last time you had something going on in your backyard. You had quite a mishap.
Yeah.
Took out the hot tub almost.
That was with the skid steer. So,
yes.
Not good. All right, Jackie, we appreciate it. Mayor Jackie Izzo, great talk. We'll do it again. Thank you.
Thanks again.
All right.
Bye-bye.